I'm joined in studio by filmmaker Sihle Hlophe, who's documenting her own Lobola journey.
Sihle Hlophe turns the camera on herself.
I grew up believing that, yes, Lobola is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it. It's a way of honoring my father.
Really, what is Lobola in English? There's no term.
Why can't two families come together without money exchanging hands?
It's 200.
Well, it charts her journey from several years before her wedding up until the big day, during which time she documents numerous Lobola negotiations around the country in an effort to properly understand the sacred and highly revered cultural practice. That's multi-award-winning filmmaker Sihle Hlophe's latest documentary. It's titled Lobola, a bright true price. Well, the film follows Hlophe as she decides whether she will accept Lobola or not after her boyfriend proposes to her. She joins us now to tell us more about her documentary. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me. Morning.
It's so good to have you here. I mean, give us a brief synopsis of what the documentary is about. Lobola, a bright true price.
Okay, so firstly, it charts my own personal journey as I decide whether to accept bride price or not. But also what happens is that I go to the Lobola ceremonies of other couples in different parts of the country, and I learn more about different elements of Lobola, for example, African spirituality, how that is important, gender constructed roles, how those play into the whole Lobola thing. So it's quite a number of things that we unpack in the film on this journey.
What was your stance on Lobola before embarking on this journey?
Before embarking on it, I was looking at it from what I can say, quote-unquote, coconut stance, just seeing it as a transactional and patriarchal practice. But as I learned more about it, I learned that it's really sacred and should be held in high regard, especially from an African spirituality perspective.
What are some of the findings? I mean, you document several Lobola negotiations around the country. What are some of the key findings there?
Okay, some of the key findings for me were that as they negotiate the Lobola, it's really the woman's value, quote unquote, that's put on the table, right? We ask if the woman has children or, you know, if she's been married before. Those things seem to be important, but not so much for the man. I also learned, though, that it's a way of honoring those that came before us and other family members who raised us, not just our parents. It brings families together. The robust negotiations reveal character. That was really important for me. And that is, like, just important to us as Bantu people and has been, like, since pre-colonial times.
What are some of the themes? Is there particular similar themes that run across all the different families that you document?
Sure. I think the monetization of cattle is one that seems to be problematic across the board, because if someone had said 14 cattle, what does that mean in monetary value? You know, that exchanging of money exchanging hands, is something I found contentious but interesting and across the board.
What is your understanding of the cultural practice now? Now that before the film you had your own opinion about it, you had your own stance. What is your understanding now that you've documented all these families?
My understanding is that it's now a very important thing to go through if you choose to go through with it. My understanding is that it's important from an ancestral point of view. And my understanding is that it helps to reveal character, which would help you to assess whether these two people can build a family together. But I'm still uncomfortable with some of the transactional and patriarchal elements of it.
And what is your stance on your family as well? You had your own beliefs, but remember, Lobola is a whole family thing. So you have this battle where you have to please your family too. What was that for you?
Sure. I think I took the approach that I'm going to go in with cameras, but respectfully so. Make sure that everybody is comfortable and everybody understands why they're on board. So even though there were family members that disagreed with me, it was done respectfully so. So even after the cameras were put away, we could still continue on a journey of, okay, Sihle, you are this kind of person, maybe a bit more transgressive. You question things. We understand that, we embrace that, we'll support you, but we have our reservations. And some people are just like, this is not on.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you strike strike the balance, though? It's so difficult because here you are, you have this whole stance that this is what I stand by. And if we are being honest, the adults usually do take over. The negotiators on both sides take over because then you take the backseat as, in fact, you're the main character in there, but you don't even play the character in there anymore.
Exactly. For me, I feel like my family allowed me to have a lot of agency in deciding whether or not to do it, which you'll see in the film. But I feel like respect and Ubuntu was at the core of everything. But striking a balance, I don't think you can strike a balance. You just have to do you, as long as you're not hurting other people and just follow what seems true for you.
What's been the response to the documentary?
The response is that some people went in there thinking, oh, okay, it's a typical, film that's going to bash Lobola, and they were surprised by the nuances. They were surprised by my own journey, my grappling, going back and forth and vacillating, and I think maybe by some of the things they saw with the other families. But people, I think at the heart of it is that you don't, just because you question things doesn't make you less African. That's very important. In fact, it helps you to get a deeper understanding of why we do things as Africans.
Do you find people are more willing to explain without being defensive about it?
Some people are open to even questioning their own Lobola journeys and the decisions they took and whether they had agency or not. Some people are staunch believers. It varies across the board.
So you premiere tonight at 44 Stanley. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we are having screenings at the Bioscope Independent Cinema in Mill Park, 44 Stanley, tonight at 5 and again at 7. So people can go online and book their tickets. They're only 80 rands. We're also going to have screenings in Cape Town and in other provinces at a later stage. So if you follow us on our social media page, Lobola, A Bride's True Price, you can find out more about where we'll be screening and even request to screen the film in your own community.
Yeah. I'm curious, your fiance's family, what did they think of the film?
I think people will need to watch the film to see some of those things. I'm like treading like this, without trying to reveal too much, But I think as an artist, you just get to be the exception sometimes where people understand, oh, this one questions why the sun rises in the east and not the west. It's who I am.
All right, Sihle, congratulations on the documentary. Thank you so much for talking to us. She's a multi-award-winning filmmaker, Sihle Hlophe. She is the producer and director of a new documentary titled Lobola, Bride's to Price, which will be screened at the Bioscope and 44 Stanley this evening.